The Aussie government has just announced it's delaying its emissions trading system for a year. Amid signs the proposal will detract from economic growth. Heidi, what's going on here? Hasn't Prime Minister Rudd and the Greens been all excited about putting in this, is it a cap and trade system, or if I'm not wrong on that? But I guess right now the economy, the way it is, you don't want to forge ahead with that when it's going to be a drag on growth or something.
That's right, Bernie. We're all for going green, but not if it comes at the cost of the Australian economy. Australia is the world's biggest coal exporter, and we're also one of the world's biggest polluters per capita. And Kevin Rudd's been facing a lot of criticism across the board for his emissions trading scheme, saying that it would put too much pressure on our economy, which is already in recession. The year-long delay in the scheme is going to be a setback for a number of emerging renewable companies, one of which is Ausra, a solar thermal energy company. Ausra produces steam directly from the sun, and that high-pressure steam is then channeled into tubes, which is used in power generation. It's emissions-free, and the company is the first to start up a solar thermal plant in the United States. To talk more about this, I'm joined by Ausra Australia CEO Bob Matthews. Now, with the delay of the ETS by a year, that's certainly going to hurt companies such as yours. What's going to be the impact, do you think?
Well, it's disappointing that there is a delay. We were hoping that that would come in at 2010. It looks like now it'll be 2011. And the problem is that if they've delayed it by 1 year, they may want to delay it by another year. And the longer they delay it, then the worse it is for us. So it does affect renewables, such as our company. We would like to see the emissions trading scheme come in. Obviously it needs to be framed, it needs to be correctly done. We don't want to see it come in a way that it would create a problem for the economy or we lose jobs. But to me, I thought this would be the driver for these new infrastructure projects that we were talking about that was going to bail us all out of the problems we have at the moment.
But of course your interests aren't just in Australia. You've got a plant in Nevada and have had some very high-profile support with US California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Indeed.
Is that plant actually up and functional at the moment? Can you talk, what stage is that at?
Yes, that plant was commissioned in September last year, and as you said, it was opened by Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think he stated at that time that Ausra was one of the best companies they had in California, so it was a very good message from Arnold. But yes, the project is up and running. It produces electricity. We're putting that electricity in the grid, and it'll power, when it's fully operational, it'll power 3,500 homes.
Bob, Bernie in Hong Kong, I want to weigh in here for a second. In my talks with your peers over the last year or two, a lot of the concerns has been the polysilicon wafers and some of the materials that go into the photovoltaic cells for solar, and that was a bit of a drag because the cost for generating each megawatt hour was a bit untenable, not entirely viable in some cases. Has that situation been remedied?
Bernie, we need to make the distinction between what you just mentioned, which is PV, photovoltaic, which produces electricity from photovoltaic cells, generally rooftops of homes, but can be done on a large scale. We don't produce electricity direct, we produce steam. So our technology is called solar thermal, and we use the sun to boil water, and then we use that water, we get it hot enough that it produces steam, and we use the steam to spin a turbine which produces the electricity. So we're actually a totally different technology to the photovoltaic that you just referred to.
And how much electricity is being produced at the moment? I think you were saying there's something like, was it 13,500 homes have been?
3,500 homes. Look, actually I don't have that information, and I think we've been close to that, but I don't think we've actually got to the full capacity of the 3,500 homes. But certainly it's very difficult for me to talk about even the US operations. I can talk more about the Australian operations.
Brooke, Bob, Brooke McConnell from South Ocean is here in Hong Kong with me, and I'd like to have a chat with you.
Hey, hi, Bob. Fascinating company you have going. If you looked out, what do you think are your biggest hurdles for really getting this thing ramped up, going down? Is it government assistance? Is it prices? Or where do you see your biggest challenges coming up?
Well, certainly for the Australian marketplace, and there are different schemes in place in different countries, including the US, to what we have here in Australia. You have an income tax credit in the US. We don't have that here, but what you said is precisely the issue. We need government support to create the necessary regulatory framework, put in strong targets that are going to create that equaliser, if you like, that would enable renewables such as ours to get moving.
And is it just an issue of regulation, or is it, you know, as people become more green and more green aware, that demand is going to increase anyway because people are going to be asking for eco-friendly energy?
And that's true, but of course there is quite a cost difference at the moment. We have an emerging technology. It's solar thermal. As a result of being new, it's much more expensive than existing technologies such as coal-fired power stations. So, you know, bridging the gap and providing the necessary regulatory framework that would provide that ability for us to compete with fossil fuels is what really the governments need to be doing.
Bob, one last question from me, if you would. A lot of your technology and what you bring to the market is industrial applications. How close to the end user do you see a company like Ausra getting? I mean, can it actually go into consumer applications? Is there some sort of a migration policy for the company to go beyond the kind of industrial applications that you're providing as of now?
No, I see where you're coming from. There's kind of two answers to that question. The first is, for the purpose of generation, we operate as if we were a full large-scale generator, such as a coal-fired, gas-fired, or any other nuclear power station for that matter. So we operate on scale. So we would have a plant in a remote location that is connected to the national grid and probably a long way away from the end user. The other side of it is that because we produce steam, we don't have to use that steam to produce electricity. We can use that steam for other industrial applications in the paper and pulp mills, you know, for, dare I say it, all recovery systems. So there's a whole host of applications we can use our steam for.
I'll have to stop you there, Bob, but thank you very much for your time. That was Bob Matthews, the CEO of Ausra. We'll be back after this break.